let's make it personal. What would you describe as Myles Munroe's purpose here on earth?
I was born to transform followers into leaders and leaders into agents of change. I was created by God, sent to this earth to help the follower discover that trapped inside of them is a great leader, to help them reconnect to their true abilities, their true potential, and to help them become all they were born to be. And so I'm very clear on what I am born to do. It energizes me every minute of the day. Matter of fact, my days are too short because I am so excited about my purpose.
Wonderful, wonderful. Now, you mentioned earlier that at the age of 13, you began to ask yourself some very deep questions. Very unusual for a 13-year-old. What was it that happened in your life at the age of 13 that caused you to ask those questions?
I remember sitting in a classroom one day, and a white Scottish teacher looked at this class of black kids, and he began to call us some names, like half-breed monkeys, black niggers, fools, retarded. I mean, words you wouldn't imagine a teacher saying to kids. And I sat there and I began to weep. And I felt so insulted as a human. Matter of fact, I began to believe him. Because I figured maybe he's right. Maybe we can't learn. Maybe we are cursed. Maybe we are subhuman. Maybe there is something wrong with black people. And I remember running home to my mother with my brown paper bag with my book in it. We couldn't buy school bags. It was a shopping bag, was my bag at school. And I ran home to that house and fell before my mother, began to cry. And my mother did something that I hope every mother does. She looked at me, she held me very close, and she shook me. She says, first of all, don't you ever say that again. And then she says, I want you to read a verse of scripture, son, and don't finish until you can quote it without reading it. And she gave me her big Bible, one verse of scripture, Ephesians chapter 3, verse 20. She said, you go in that little dirty room and you read that. And I went and I began to read the scripture. My tears were dropping on the page as I remember what the teacher said to me. And that scripture said one thing. It said, now unto him who is able to do exceeding abundantly above, far beyond all you can ever ask, think, or imagine, according to the power that worketh within you. And I remember my tears began to turn into laughter. Because I began as a little kid, 13 years old, I began to understand one statement from the Bible, that the power for me to be successful was not in the teachers, it was not in the educational system, it was not in my culture, it was not in my society, it was within me. And I began to think, God, if you are a good God, why am I poor? If you are a great God, why are these people better than me? If you make me in your image, why are they special and I'm a monkey? And that night, no thunder, no lightning, no earthquakes, nothing. I just heard a voice in my mind. And the voice said, I ask you to believe me and you will be saved, not them. And that night, I made a commitment to believe what God said. 13 years old, I said, okay, I believe that I have the power to experience far beyond all I can ever ask, think, or imagine. 13 years old. And that's when my pursuit of God began.
When was it that you realized you wanted to become a preacher?
I didn't want to become a preacher. Matter of fact, today I still don't consider myself a preacher. I think it drove me to have a passion to help everybody who's been oppressed. My passion is to make sure that no one should live under what I experienced. I never desired to be a minister. I desired to help people.
You're a husband, you're a father, a pastor, a businessman, a leadership consultant, a motivational speaker, and an author of many books. Yet you've only got 24 hours in every single day like everybody else. Question is, how do you juggle all these demands on the time that you have?
Yes. First of all, let me answer by saying that everybody has 24. Do you know what they call using your time? They call it spending your time. Time is a currency.
True.
You use currency to buy things. So whatever you spend your time on, that's what you bought. I balance my life. My priority is important. For example, my first priority is my spiritual, personal relationship with God. I want to maintain that as my priority. My second priority is my wife and my children. I mean, period. That's it. It's more important than my job, my career, speaking to a million people, television. No, my family. You know. And then my third priority